Yes, and welcome back to the Mate How Good Was podcast with me, Josh.
Me, Dono.
Okay, baby. Okay, we're back with a player podcast. If you haven't already listened to our Week in Football, go back and listen to it, where we say some really interesting stuff that we don't know yet because we're actually recording the player first this week. Woo! It's a cookie and random. But hopefully it is already out. Well, by hopefully, it will already be out. We're going to go on to talk today about... what I'm going to say is the second tallest thing in Italy, other than the Tower of Pisa, is what we're going to talk about today. The Tower of Pisa is inches taller than who we're talking about today.
Boise.
Okay, third tallest thing in Italy. Coming in actually slightly just below Boise. But yeah, Boise is the tallest walking thing in Italy. This man is the second tallest walking thing in Italy after the Tower of Pisa.
If Juninho was the little fella, this guy would be the big fella, right?
Yeah. Or the big fucker, I reckon, because he's a big fucker, isn't he?
Fucking hell. He probably did fuck, yeah.
Yeah, big fucker is in, Jesus, look at the size of that fucker. And also the fact that he probably fucked.
Yeah.
Okay. Which we will talk about at some point, I imagine. Look. This is the Mate How Horny Was podcast. Look how excited you are to talk about him fucking. Right, anyway, today what we're gonna do is we're gonna answer the question, mate, how good was Luca Toni?
Mate. Yeah.
A player with like a very weird rap sheet.
He reminds me of a player that you're probably going to give me absolute pelters for. I won't say it now. Will I say it now? Shall I say it now? Would you like me to tell you who he reminds me of? Michu.
Yeah, no, I will take the piss at you for that. How Michu?
Just a big old weirdo up front that is very good with the ball at his feet and loves to put the ball in the back of the net. I was watching him, I was like, that is so Michu. But maybe Michu is so Tony. I think maybe Michu is a bit more Tony than Tony is Michu.
Yeah, I would say that for someone who has scored 300 career goals, has won the World Cup, and has played in the biggest leagues and for some of the biggest teams, to then compare with a bloke that had a good season at Swansea.
Yeah, but what a season. Yeah,
great season, to be fair, actually. Yeah. All right, so the tagline for this pod is going to be Luca Toni, the Italian Michu, ? Oh, right. We were texting each other yesterday.
Christ.
I said, fucking hell, good luck with tomorrow, good luck with that tail of the tape. Right. Luca Toni spent his career at a mere 13 clubs. The only person that's been to more clubs across the world is fucking Wooly on those 18 to 30 holidays of his. But he has spent his time
at tail of the tape, mate. It's a
13
rap sheet.
clubs, mate.
It's fucking massive.
Yeah. Right. So, Dono, we'll just block up for the next 8 or 9 minutes. Do you want to give us Luca Toni's tail of the tape?
Strap yourselves in. Luca Toni. The first name on the lips of Marcello Lippi. The big fella of Little Bayern. Hellas goals at Verona. Palermo in the second division. You can't be Serie B. Serie A? This about to get serious. Traitor of Palermo. Assassin of the Azzurri. Oh, Luca Toni starts his career at Norwich City's sexy Italian cousin, Modena. How's that pronunciation?
Yeah, good. Yeah,
we're liking that. Okay, wait for this one. Florence's fat, disgusting neighbour, Empoli. Before transferring across to the club with the biggest name in Serie C Group A, Fiorenzuola. Before then making a move across to, when you get quite a lot of Giannis in one place, a lot of Giannis. He then makes the move to a club that has died and come back to life more times than Jesus Christ, Treviso. the next club he moves to doesn't have a great deal going for him. So they are the Serie B winners 1955 Vicenza. Before making a move to a club that was a big hit with Queen and David Bowie, Under Brescia. Then making a move to Berlin's lover in La Casa del Papel, Palermo. Then makes a disgusting move to the bullet through the heart of Jared Bowen. Sorry, a bullet through the heart from Jared Bowen, Fiorentina. Then he goes to the laughingstock of Bavaria, Bayern Munich, before he moves to what you tell your mum to do when you're escaping somewhere via boat, Roma. He then goes on loan to the sequel that no one asked for, Bayern Munich 2, before making a move to something you say to a mate when you're showing him a pic of a fit girl, Genoa. Before moving to the second biggest Juve on planet Earth, behind Juventud, Juventus. He then moves to a club in Dubai, Al Nassr, before he makes a move back to Fiorentina, before finishing his career at the place he scored Hellas goals, Hellas Verona.
Wow, superb. You've done very, very well then. I'm going to say my highlight has got to be Lodigiani. It's a situation that I found myself in several times where I'm just like, oh, fucking hell, why is there so many Jannies?
Lodigiani.
On an individual note and a career statistic notes, there's a lot. So we're just going to fly through some of them. He wins Serie B, Bundesliga twice, German Cup twice. He wins the German League Cup. He wins the World Cup. Well done. Individually, he wins a note Fiorentina Hall of Fame 2016, Kicker Bundesliga Team of the Season 2007-2008, FIFA World Cup All-Star Team 2006, where I think he played with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Serie B top scorer 2003-2004, beating someone. Serie A top scorer 2005-2006, and Serie A top scorer 2014-2015. And also, he's won the award of having the name that your Italian friend has when he's talking to someone called Tony because things aren't going really well. He has to sit him down and have a serious conversation. He's like, "Luca Toni." Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse than the song. Yeah, that's even worse than the song. Which we'll talk about at some point. So, let's talk about TBF, the big fella. Weird career because I feel like Luca Toni is someone that I thought of when I think of like great Serie A strikers, but in reality it took him until 2000 to play in Serie A. So he spent 6 years rotting around in Serie C, Serie B, before playing in Serie A for 3 years, playing Serie A for 3 years, then went back to Serie B with Palermo before then sort of kicking on again. It's just I don't know. I don't know what you think. I thought his career was quite odd.
Yeah, I mean, I associate when I think back on Luca Toni, I associate him mainly with Bayern Munich and the Italian national team. I don't really have a recollection of him like his time in Serie A, but looking at his career, I would have thought he'd played a lot more in Serie A, and I would have thought he scored a lot more goals than he did in Serie A. But yeah, I didn't have him down as like a journeyman that had come through like Serie B, Serie C. But yeah, it's a strange one. I didn't recall him for that.
No. I also think as well we should probably start calling it the Italian League because it does sound like we're saying he didn't sound like he scored a lot of goals in Serie, but he didn't actually play in Serie at any point. He actually played in Italy. So we're going to kind of skip over his original part. He was born he was born just outside of Modena, lived in Modena, played for Modena, etc., etc. Which, just in case I haven't mentioned, I lived abroad and I speak Italian, so I'm just going to mention that again. And lived in Modena, nice place. No statues of Luca Toni, nothing like that there. So can't have been that important to all of the people of Modena. But I'd say that his career kind of starts when he goes to Vicenza, because that's when he starts sort of getting seen around places. He's still bouncing around a little bit there. But he then gets his move to Brescia, which Brescia are one of those weird sides that had... If you looked at... Do you remember when we were talking about Real Zaragoza and having great players? If you looked at players that Brescia had, Brescia also have had some very good players. Probably because geographically it's pretty close to Milan. It's in quite a nice part of the country. But at this point as well, while he was there, he played alongside Pep Guardiola, which is pretty cool. He also, but bigger than that, I suppose, probably maybe not as a name, but someone in Italian football, is he also played alongside Roberto Baggio. That, as per last week, we had a conversation about. What was it we said last week? No, it wasn't Junior Pamabacano. It was Junior Paulista. And this week, thinking of Roberto Baggio, Pep Guardiola, and Luca Toni all lining up together in Brescia kits is arguably more IPA drinking, samba wearing, 5-panelish than anything else we've ever done, I would say. It's pretty high up there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's inverting the podcast. That's unreal. The kits as well. Well, I'll talk about them later, but yeah, what a club. One thing
that the Italian league has always done, and I'm going to say probably will always do well, is kits. The Italian league, what the Italian league does well with kits is they're never usually the biggest brands. Like usually Nike and Adidas kind of sponsor like the bigger clubs. So now Nike, Adidas, Puma, Juve or Adidas, Inter Milan and Nike, AC Puma, Roma or Adidas. Do you know what I mean? The big, but then there's like Lotto, Give Over, Joma, Macron, Mizuno. Do you know what I mean? Like the lower tier things, but still make great.
Oof.
Kappa. The lower tier kits, the lower tier brands that still make great kits. And Luca Toni is someone that wore a lot of great kits. Also, just to add to that as well, the most Italian thing ever is Armani sponsoring Napoli is the most Italian thing ever, isn't it? But anyway, he has his time at Brescia, and kind of what the annoyance is a little bit about this pod, not the annoyance, but is we can't spend too much time talking about everything because he's got so many clubs. But what I would say is the turning point when his career gets a bit more interesting is when he actually makes his move to Palermo, because while he's at Brescia, he's played with Pep, he's played with Roberto Baggio, and he's just he scored 13 goals in his first season, then a little bit injury ridden the second season, only gets 2 goals, but he scored 13 is a bit younger in 2001-2002 season, injured 2002-2003, but then he makes a move to Serie B, which is that's a curly one, isn't it?
But big club, massive club. In fact, arguably,
they're the biggest club in Sicily, aren't they?
I don't want to say it because I don't want any trouble with the Sicilians, you know. But yeah, arguably, again, I do not want any trouble.
Yeah, especially with like Catania fans and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say Palermo are the biggest club in Sicily. But I would happily change my mind if anyone wants to change it. In fact, I would say there isn't a small club.
I will say this: they are most certainly the pinkest club in Sicily.
Yeah. And again, talking about the kits,
Mamma
pink
mia.
Kit. Yeah, Mamma mia indeed. So he agreed to join Palermo 2003. Gets himself 30 goals in Serie B. And this is where he comes to life. And one thing we've mentioned and we've spoken about a few times before is about great goal scorers and scorer great goals. I'm gonna pre-ruin the bit later on. Luca Toni and the biggest scorer of great goals. He scored nearly 300. We scored 300 goals in his career. He scored nearly 300 league goals, and it's much like that restaurant that's just opened up in the outlet. but change the CH for a P, Slim Pickens. There's not exactly. It's not exactly.
That might be the worst joke of the podcast.
Exactly,
that might be the worst joke of all time on the podcast. That was so bad. That's bottom of the barrel, mate.
Nah, Luca Toni's
that
got
was
to be
really
bad.
bad.
Luca Toni, come on. That was I was talking. I was thinking, shut the fuck up. Why is your mouth still moving? But I can't stop. But he is a scorer of great goals, a great goal scorer, not a scorer of great goals. But so he scores 30 goals for Palermo during that season, and while has that season in Sicily, he also gets himself in the national side. What are your thoughts on players for big national sides from the second tier playing? Like, as in, for Italy at this time, big side, like England, Spain, France, etc.
Well, I mean, if it's anything like it is now in terms of like Luca Toni, the kind of striker he was, is a bit of a dying breed at the moment. Like if you look at in the Premier League, for example, there's a real shortage of like players that play in and around the box. He's a proper number 9, isn't he? Just stays in the box, scores the majority of his goals within the 18-yard box. I think now, so for example, if there was a player in the Championship who was English, might get some flack for this. If there was a player in the Championship that was English that was scoring 30 goals, I think he would probably get a look. He'd probably be in the conversation. Whether or not he would get called up would be another thing, but I don't think there's such a massive jump. I don't know what it's like in Italy, if there's, or even at the time, what the jump would be like in terms of quality. I'd imagine it would be pretty big, but that player is inevitably going to move. He's going to either get promoted and be playing in the top division the following season, or he's going to make that move. So if the player's got the quality, I don't really have an issue with it. But if he's playing ahead of someone that's better, then yeah. But I mean, the manager see him in training, will be able to make a decision on whether or not he's actually good enough. So I have no issue with it.
My only thought process in all these things is Jay Bothroyd. Do you remember when Jay Bothroyd played for England?
Yeah, but mate, he scored so many goals in the Championship that season, but also should not have been playing for England.
So whilst you've just made a really good point, I completely disagree with it.
But the quality of the player, he wasn't good enough to play for England.
Yeah, true. Anyway, so once Luca comes back, following season, he goes and bags himself 20 goals for the massive Palermo in their first Serie A season, and he gets them to the UEFA Cup. That's class, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
if you're
sick.
Luca Toni, you're thinking, right, I'm really settled here. I love life in Sicily. Weather's always lovely. People are really nice. Everyone looks after me. Just taking them to the UEFA Cup. I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay forever. Or, there's the other option. I could go to Fiorentina and be called a traitor and be fucking, like, sought after. Like I was like one of the kids from like I don't know, like one of the kids from West were looking after someone in when we were like 13, 14. I'm gonna do that. So then Luca Toni makes that is a niche reference. Luca Toni makes a 10 million euro move to Fiorentina. Now Fiorentina as well. Again, we need to say this, big club, innit?
Yeah, huge club. Yeah, and also had some massive players playing for it. I love their kits and I love their badge.
End of. Do you remember when you were younger and you used to like when you were in like primary school and you wrote a circle about my name is John, I like Fiorentina, I love their kits and I love their badge. I think I had one that was like, I remember my one, it was like, I like mashed potatoes, and my favourite song is "Give a Little Respect."
I love mashed potatoes. That's unreal, man.
Mashed potatoes are sick, to be fair, aren't they? Anyway, so Big Luca Big Luca leaves Palermo and goes to Fiorentina, which actually logically probably makes sense because Fiorentina are a massive club. Not that Palermo aren't a massive club, which they are. But Luca's decision is actually fully vindicated and justified because in his first season at Fiorentina, he scored 31 goals.
Bang.
Eat that. First time in 50 years that a Serie A player has scored more than 30 goals in a league.
I mean, that's one way to introduce yourself to your new club. 31 goals. I mean,
Mad, isn't it?
You can't put a price on it. Well, you can. 10 million. Unbelievable fee.
Bargain. And then second season, obviously, so he scores 31 goals. Fiorentina get themselves in the Champions League, which is great. And obviously, there's some things that have happened in Serie A, such as cheating, which Fiorentina get caught up in. So rather than, fourth position, getting themselves into Europe and stuff, they get smacked in the face and slapped on the arse with a 19-point deduction. So Big Luca's gone, shit, I've scored loads of goals, and then loses 19 points.
How do you feel about this? So, obviously the club's been deducted points. They've not finished in their actual position in the league. Do you kind of feel like you could chalk a few of his goals off?
No. You can't chalk his goals off.
I reckon you could probably knock 10 goals off that.
No, because they're influencing the referee. No, because what they got done for was influencing referees' decisions. So, yes, that might have. If Luca Toni scores a 40-yard boomer, and then, or let's say Fiorentina concede a 40-yard boomer, it's going to be extremely difficult to find a reason for that to not go in. I can't imagine that would have a direct correlation in 10 of the goals that he conceded, 10 of the goals that he scored.
There could have been a foul in the build-up for 10 of those goals, and the referee let it play on. So we're going to chalk off 10 goals for Luca Toni that year. So we only scored 21 goals.
Yeah, but also in the same sense, this is like those drug Olympics that those people are doing, aren't they? Those lads that letting everyone get roided up and go to do like Olympic events, because it's not like Fiorentina were the only team that were cheating. There were loads of teams that were cheating. So it was like roidheads going against each other. So I kind of think I don't think you can chalk off any of his goals for it. I think if it was solely Fiorentina that were caught up in it, yeah, fine. But it was not solely Fiorentina. Moving on. Second season. All right, so second season, you know what Luca's like. He loves the second season. Comes in, does something well, and he goes, Florence is a stunning part of the world. Florence is my favourite city in the world. And look, we've just had the points deduction, but we're going to be back in Europe. We're going to be brilliant. I think I'm going to stay here forever. But that's not Luca's thought process, is it? Luca thinks, fuck this, I'm out. Which is a very common theme in Luca's career. He has 2 seasons and then goes, I'm done.
Yeah, gets cold feet quite like it's itchy feet, sorry, not cold feet. Gets itchy feet and he's like, nah, I've had enough. I've done my business. I've done 31 goals. I can't top it. Let's get out of here. But does he, Josh?
Yeah. Gets 16 goals. Gets 16 goals in the second season despite being injured all the time. So, that's pretty good.
That's a great return. You'd be happy with that even if he played the full season.
Yeah. Not injured all the time, sorry. He misses about 10 games. But then he goes, look, Andrea Della Valle, who is the owner of Fiorentina, I want to leave. But I promise you I'll never go to any other Italian team. All right? Fine. So he goes to Bayern Munich, which is fair enough because he says he would never go to another Italian team. He's presented on the same day as Frank Ribery. That is a case of Bayern fans are going to be like, some fella from Galatasaray and some lad from Fiorentina. I wonder if they'll be all right. Little did they know. Although this might actually know Ribery came from Marseille, didn't he? Not Fiorentina. Not Galatasaray, sorry. Who was it
that Man United signed on the same day they signed Ronaldo? Was it Jemba Jemba? Kleberson, that's it. Imagine you're like Bayern Munich, be like, we've got this great player, Luca Toni, coming from Italy. We've got this little bloke, not very good looking, but yeah, he's meant to be pretty good. Might not quite make it. Might be a bit of a Kleberson. Not a fucking chance, mate. Absolute barnstormer.
And the other way is that Man United was like, we've just brought in this lad from Portugal. He was really good in the pre-season friendly, but I've seen Tom Cleverley look like Kevin De Bruyne in a pre-season friendly, so it probably means nothing. But we've got World Cup winning central midfielder Kleberson coming in, who is going to transform and revolutionise the club. And how did that work out? But Big Luca makes the move to Bayern Munich. Now, I would think, right, and maybe this is just a completely wrong generalization, and maybe this could even be perceived as offensive, but I don't think it is. But I'm going to say it. Okay. Italian strikers don't travel well.
Interesting.
If you think about Italian strikers, they don't travel well. If you think about the best Italian strikers that you can think of, they all only played in Italy, or if they played abroad, it wasn't massively successful.
Di Canio?
Yeah, but Di Canio's not one of the best. Di Canio's not one of the best Italian strikers. We think of him in a positive way because he's a cult figure in England. To me,
is Zola a striker?
Yeah, maybe. But if you think of like Totti, Del Piero, Baggio, Toni, Inzaghi, all of those players don't travel. Even like look in modern day, Ciro Immobile scores absolute shitloads for Lazio. Went to Dortmund, did nothing. Went to Sevilla, did nothing.
What are you trying to say about the Italian league? Are you trying to say it's more suited to a certain type of striker?
No, I'm not saying that at all. And I'm actually just about to say someone who completely disregards my point, but Bobo Vieri. But because he scored like 100 goals when he went to Atletico Madrid. But Bobo Vieri it's not a case of he wasn't as good as anyone else. It wasn't a case of Totti wasn't as good as anyone else. It's just I feel like they just generally, what the reason is, I don't know, but generally they don't travel that well. And they also don't travel that often. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you are right, actually, because going completely off subject, when Zaniolo signed for Villa, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a sexy name, but he's Italian, so it's probably not going to work for him. And that's the exact same thought process, and it hasn't really. So, yeah, you are bang on.
I'm trying to think how many great Italians there have been in the Premier League. Di Canio and Zola. Would you say Jorginho's a great Italian? But also Jorginho's Brazilian. Jorginho's Brazilian with an Italian citizenship, so...
Still Italian, mate. Can't be saying stuff like that.
Sorry. He was born and grew up in Brazil and then got Italian citizenship. So maybe... Anyway, right, this is kind of beside the point. Because Luca defies this point, which is kind of what I'm trying to get out to. But I've convinced myself so much that he was actually shit at Bayern Munich. But he was given number 9 shirt. First season, Luca Toni, Rigatoni, Bomboloni, 24 goals in 31 games, all right, which is class. All right, 21 goals in 24 and 31 games in the league, class.
Light work.
In the cup, 5 in 4. More than a goal a game in any walk of football is unreal. And then he also gets 10 in the UEFA Cup, which they actually lose, which is sad. But, well, is it sad? I couldn't give a fuck. But they lose the UEFA Cup.
All right.
Do you know who he shares the record with for the top goal scorer in the UEFA Cup that season?
Oh my God. What year was it?
2007, 2008. I'll give you a clue. He played in England for Reading and Fulham.
Leroy Lita.
Nope. Pavel Pogrebniak. Do you remember him?
Oh my God, yeah. He was a monster. Yeah, I remember him. Fucking hell. Mate, how good was he? For like 4 games.
Yeah, he was incredible for a little bit and then just fell off.
Didn't he play unreal against Man United? Was it against Man United? I'm pretty sure it was.
He also won the UEFA Cup that year with Zenit when they beat, I think it was Rangers or Celtic in the final, with that all gold kit. But Luca Toni comes into that side, and yeah, they actually got knocked out in the. They get knocked out by Getafe. No, sorry, that's a lie. They get knocked out by Zenit. They beat Getafe and they get knocked out by Zenit. Sorry, I read my notes in the wrong way. And he, like I said, finishes UEFA Cup top scorer with 10 goals. What I do think this does show is that this is not the great Bayern, is it? Because the great Bayern is not competing in the UEFA Cup, is it?
Who's winning the league at this point? It must be.
No, they actually win. They win the league in the season that they're in the UEFA Cup.
But they just get knocked out at the early stages of the Champions League. That is tragic.
Yeah, this is the time of like. Do you remember? Diego, Grafite, and Dzeko as a front three for Wolfsburg. This must be around that sort of time. But they He scores a lot of goals. In what I think, what my point was alluding to is, now I think you could very much argue either way that I think you could probably feasibly argue that the Bundesliga is a better league than Serie A, or you could argue the other way around. Whereas for me at this point, looking at it, there's no argument Serie A is a better league than the Bundesliga by a mile, is kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one.
Bayern Munich, massive club, no denying that they're a massive club, but and I also think, sorry, just to come back, because Bayern Munich now probably are what I would say are a European powerhouse, and they are a European powerhouse, but at this point they're not the Bayern Munich of now. Just like how they win the German league, obviously, but they're not the Bayern Munich of now that have won 11 on the bounce or 10 on the bounce or whatever. That can go and attract someone like Harry Kane. Do you know what I mean? Like Luca Toni is a great player, but he's not Harry Kane. They wouldn't. Yeah. At this point, they're not attracting those type of players. But he does score shitloads of goals in there. So that's the thing to take him from all of this. 6'4", scoring loads of goals in the German league, loads of sexy little touches, and the best part is you've got at this point you've got Drogba wearing the Vapors, you've got Arjen Robben wearing the F50s, you've got Ronaldo in the Vapors as well, you've got Messi just coming through in the F50s, Luca Toni, goal scorer, huge club. What do you want, Luca? Lotto. Oh, all right, okay, fair enough. Pair of lottos.
Oh, mate, he scored a lotto goals in them.
Oh, my God.
Mate, the boots are rascal. They are so bad, I think. Do you know what they remind me of? Do you ever... what was remember the 442 magazine? In the back of the 442 magazine, you used to get all the boots, didn't you? Those boots stick in my brain so much from that magazine. They were disgusting, but they were quite eye catching, and obviously they were quite good for scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah, that's probably why me and you were defenders and goalkeepers, because we didn't wear lottos, like Luca Toni. But you would just think if you were a big famous footballer, surely you wouldn't wear lottos.
Nah, the only other player that I can think of ever wearing a lotto was Gary Neville.
Nah, he wore the Diodoras, man. They weren't even lottos.
Were they Diodoras?
Yeah, they were Diodoras. But Roy Keane wore those Diodoras as well, so I'd rather wear those Diodoras than the lottos. He might have worn lottos as well, but he used to wear with a big green Diodora on the side.
Oh, yeah, he did wear the green Diodoras. You're right. They're quite nice, actually. Take that back.
Yeah, they're decent. Yeah, the Diodora's all right. But second season, he still is scoring a lot of goals. He's getting himself injured again, which again appears to be a relatively common theme, scoring a lot of goals. So he's had two seasons at Bayern Munich. And he's thought, right, I've scored nearly 40 goals in 2 seasons here. The fans love me. There's actually a song that is called Luca Toni, You Are Number One. And it's someone just saying things that rhyme with Luca Toni that then goes, say numero uno, which is you are number one. So it's like, Luca Toni, rigatoni, mascarpone. It's awful. 2 years, and he's gone, right, I love this. And we think, we don't know him 100%, but we think and imagine that Luca Toni he's a good-looking bloke. He's probably quite a horny man. So what he would need just to make it cement after 2 years, because we usually at 2 years he blows up, is to get the horniest manager in the history of football to come in and take over. Louis van Gaal's Red Army. Get Louis in, the horn dog, and he will sort it all out. What happened season 3?
Gets angry, falls out with him.
Shock. Gets angry and falls out with him. He doesn't play him. He gets rid of him. Luca Toni plays 4 games that season, and then he's done. He's off and away out to Italy. But the nail in the coffin is when he walks out of he basically gets hooked at half time and then just leaves the stadium. So in a game in November, he gets hooked at half time and leaves the stadium. Like, would you, as a fan, like, brand new managers come in, he's just got you rid of he's just about to terminate the contract of your star striker. Would you, as a fan, accept that or not accept that? I think in theory you go, yeah, back the manager, but he's brand new and he is your star striker. Do you know what I mean?
Depends who the manager is, really. Yeah, like you said, star striker. He's a fan favourite as well. It's hard. It's hard, isn't it? You'd almost hate the manager right from the get go. But also you kind of got to respect it in the same breath as well. Like if he doesn't fancy him, there's no point having him about. You may as well get rid of him. But terminating his contract when he's just scored all those goals is a bit brain dead. I think there's money to be made there, but we know what Van Gaal's like. He's too horny for his own good, and he's got a bit too excited, and he's gone too early, and he's ruined it for everyone.
Yeah, cheers, Louis. You made him sound like the bloke at a party that's like party starts at 8 and he's absolutely steaming, obliterated, ball bagged by like 8:15.
He's called the person who's hosting it mum's a slag, and now everyone's getting kicked out, and you're like, mate, I've literally had one Heineken, and now we've got to go home. I've got to walk all the way back across Swindon for that. Cheers, mate. Cheers, Louis.
Yeah, fucking hell, Louis. But he gets rid of him. But I also think this sort of brings on to a point of Luca Toni doesn't appear to be the easiest of characters to manage, given the fact that he's... There's a sneeze. Given the fact that he's never really... Like, this is his third season, but really he had 2 seasons there, didn't it? Like, because he played 4 games in the final one before leaving. Like, he must... I don't know the bloke, but it does appear that he comes across like he's a really difficult person to manage. It's a consistent theme as we carry on as well.
Yeah, it seems like he's got a bit of that Jose Mourinho third season blows up syndrome. Maybe he just likes to move about. Maybe he just he does get itchy feet. We've discussed that. Maybe it's the lottos. Maybe they're on too tight. Maybe he's not drying his feet correctly after his shower. I don't know, but I think he just wants to see it all. I reckon he's set out from the start. Obviously, he's a bit of a journeyman at the start, lower divisions, and he's gone, do you know what? If I ever make it, I'm just going to try all of the clubs. If I try them all, at the end of it, I'm going to be able to decide which one was my favourite, and then I can just go back to that one.
Yeah, class idea. It is actually quite smart when you think about it. Yeah, fair play, actually. I take it all back. Right, on another positive note, something that we just haven't spoken about yet that I feel like we have to is, like we said, he's a great scorer of goals, not a scorer of great goals, but he has a class celebration. And that I rate. The little hand movement by the ear, yeah. Quality celebration.
Did he make that up? I feel like who else does that?
He did it first, I think.
But doesn't Drogba do it as well? I'm pretty sure Drogba did it in the Champions League final after he scored the header.
Big Luca's been doing it for years before that.
Maybe he's done it for Luca Toni.
I think that the reason he sort of said it was just sort of being like, can you realise what I've just done? Look how crazy this is. Like, fair, which a lot of the times is just score a pretty bang average goal from 8 yards out, but do it a lot. I also think as well, one thing that I was sort of getting when I was reading into him and looking at him and stuff like that is he's a premium target man, isn't he? Like, because there's big players that can hold up the ball and bring people into play and whatever. Luca Toni, if like that ball is stuck to him like glue if it comes anywhere near him, but also he's technically brilliant and he scores a shitload. Generally speaking, target men aren't the most prolific, are they? He's like a premium target man.
Yeah, no, and also for a big guy, he plays on the last man quite a lot, tries to get in behind. And that's one of the things I noticed as well when I was watching some of his goals back. He seems to be offside quite a lot and the linesman doesn't put his flag up. Again, we're going to chalk 10 goals off for him for that season. Just watching those highlights alone, I thought the Linos had an absolute stinker there. But yeah, for a big man who can hold it up and still he's got great feet. I think if he was about now, he'd be a kind of player that like Chelsea, for example, would be absolutely crying out for. He'd be most sought after.
Good shout, Chelsea. Thank you for setting that one up. But he was never quick, and I think we're going to come back to that when we speak about his last club. And it doesn't really have, like you said, he played in the last man, but was never the quickest. Wasn't like the in behind sort of player, but it didn't really affect him that much. But Anyway, moving on. So after he's promised Fiorentina he'll never go back to Italy, he then makes the move to Roma, which which is the capital. So pretty obvious place to spot him. Big Luca plays, scores 5 goals for them. Then after Roma goes to Genoa in the 2010, 2011 season, he's at Genoa. Lovely, love Genoa, very nice club. Scores 3 goals for Genoa, and then obviously makes the move to Juventus. Like, of course, that's what happens. Like a big name in the league at that point. Juventus maybe not as strong as they were. He's going to go there, and you think, right? We know what Luca's like. He loves to have 2 seasons at us. He's just so brilliant. 2 in 14, and then he fucks off to the UAE. And 2 in 14.
He's done it again.
2 in 14 fucks off to UAE. Comes back, plays 1 season for Fiorentina, which is almost like a victory lap for him, where he scores 8 in 27. And I think at this point in any other player's career or trajectory, you go, well done. Like, that's it. Do you know what I mean?
USA.
Like, he's 35. He's 35 when he leaves there. When he leaves Fiorentina. In fact, he's 36 when he leaves Fiorentina. And you think, yeah, you've done your bit. All right, well done. But that's not what fucking Luca thinks, is it? That is certainly not what he thinks. What happens is the team. Jesus Christ, that is awful. Sorry. He makes a move to Hellas Verona is what happens, right? Hellas Verona are sponsored by what a 2009 to 2012 forum shopping person would love nothing more than a sponsor, Franklin and Marshall. The only thing that could possibly be better would be a UCLA one. Do you remember when you did Franklin and Marshall t-shirts?
Yeah, that was a moment in time. That was like college, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were too expensive for me. I was too busy
it.
wearing Top Man I Love Pies t-shirts at that point, so I didn't have one of those bad boys.
I had one, I think maybe 2 Franklin and Marshall t-shirts, and I thought I was the fucking daddy in them. And do you know Franklin and Marshall also as well, just a completely different thing, are an Italian brand?
That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense. I would have been surprised if they weren't an Italian brand.
No, but like Franklin and Marshall, it was quite like a college preppy type thing. Was not what I put together with like Italian.
No, but also they sponsor Hellas Verona, so I would be very surprised if they were like like an American brand sponsoring just Hellas Verona. But no, when I saw it when I first saw it on the kit, I thought that's really weird. But then my brain kicked in and I realised, yeah, it's definitely an Italian brand. And the kits, mate. Oh my God, the kits. We're not actually going to talk. They don't actually make any of the top 3, which I mean is a bit of a disgrace.
It's a farce.
They have got some fucking great kits. The colours are unbelievable. Yeah, and they're an absolute banker for the classicfootballshirts.com sale.
Oh, mate. Just about to say, if I was actually thinking about looking them up before this. They used to be all the time on there, like always on sale. The Nike ones at that point were always on sale. They are bangers. Right, so he goes to Verona at 36 years old, right? And he then goes and nets 23? Yes, 28, 20. He scores 20 goals in 34 games at 36 years old. That's class, isn't it? I think his time at Verona is the time that I love him the most.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Because I think he doesn't need to be playing football at this age. And he's still playing, and he's playing at such a high standard and scoring goals. You can't not love it. Like if he was playing for one of the bigger clubs, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's quite impressive, whatever. But when he's playing for one of the smaller clubs, he's won the World Cup. He's done it in Serie A before. He's done it in the Bundesliga, and he's just like, do you know what? I'm just going to enjoy my last few years playing football in Italy, playing for a club that no real aspirations to do much, and I'm going to just score a shitload of goals in great kits.
Right, every single part about it. Lovely part of the country as well, Verona, and also Hellas Verona are probably not seen as much of it now, but Hellas Verona were the smaller club out of them and Chievo. It's a 2-club city, and I would say they're the smaller club, which might upset some of our Hellas Verona fans. but that is how I would have perceived it at the time. Because they'd just been promoted to Serie A when they came up.
Not a bad signing, is it, for a club that's just been promoted? Going to get a World Cup winning striker. I know he's a bit old, but mate, what a touch that was.
They also get a Champions League winning centre back in Rafael Marquez as well. They used to have Hellas Verona used to have two centre backs called Marquez. I think it was Rafael Marquez and Rafa Marquez. I might be completely lying, but I think that's true. I actually when I lived in Italy, I actually went to see Hellas Verona play Sassuolo, and Luca Toni was up front. And no word of a lie, I reckon his Fitbit must have thought he was sleeping. He literally he must have run 200 meters the whole game, but also couldn't give a fuck. But he scored loads of goals that season. So, like I said, he scores 20 and 34. He's 36. He's just about to turn 37 now. You probably think, right, look, I've done a really good job here. Time to finish. Time to hang the boots up, wouldn't you? Yeah?
Yeah, phase him out. Bring in a young striker. Let him see out his days on the bench.
Yeah, fair play. But Luca goes, actually, fuck that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do another season at Hellas Verona. I'm going to play every single league game for them. I'm going to be their captain. And I'm going to score 22 goals in that season and be the top scorer in Italy.
Fuck you, Father Time.
Yeah. That is Benjamin Button logic, isn't it?
Yeah, Benjamin Button of the goals.
Started his career with lots of Jannies around him, scoring a goal a season. Finished his career in Verona, scoring hundreds of goals. He was ranked on a list of like the top 10 players over 36. Who the fuck is making that list? Who's making that list?
It's nothing to be proud of. You're like, I come second in that. That's brilliant.
Yeah. But then, obviously, second season, 2 seasons, 42 goals. You think, right, Luke, and you know when to stop because you know what you're like. On that third season, he goes, I've got to break the curse at some point. And does he? No. He scores 6 goals in 23 games. But I mean, he tried. So probably the most prolific period of his career is when he's at Fiorentina, really, because when he's at Fiorentina, he actually breaks the record for the most amount of goals scored in one Serie A season when he scores 31 goals. He becomes the first player to do it in 50 years. But to score over 30, but he was the leading scorer with 31 at that point. And then just sort of does well at Bayern, then doesn't do well, and then all of a sudden comes back as a 36, 37, 38-year-old and just starts smashing the shit out of it again. Such a weird career, isn't it?
It's such a weird league because that seems to be like something that happens quite a lot. Not that players don't score goals earlier in their career, but players seem to have so much more longevity in the Italian league than they do in other leagues around Europe. I don't know if it's the pace. It must be the pace of the game. I know it's a lot more defensive. It's a lot slower. At 36, you can just walk around and then wait for the ball to bounce to you in the box. You haven't got to worry about players sprinting, worried about their stats.
Yeah, but this is also, like you said, like we were speaking about earlier, about him as a target man. He's the perfect type of player to get better as he gets older because he's going to understand what he needs to do more, and he was never the quickest. But I also think as well, to sort of back up your point, this is probably, I would say 2010 to like 2014 is probably, like we said about Bayern around 2008 being a weaker league, probably Serie A at this point, 5 to 6 years later, is definitely a weaker league. Like the sides around them aren't the great sides that they were before. The great players that were there for 10, 15 years are on their last leg. Like, do you remember that Milan? Do you remember that season that Milan retired? Like, at the end of the season, Gattuso, Ambrosini, Inzaghi, Nesta, all retired at the end of one season. Abbiati, all retired at the end of one season. You're like, fucking hell, that is a lot of old bastards to retire at the end of one season. This is like that sort of era of Serie A where the older technical players seem to be getting more airtime, game time, and the league was kind of weak at this point, I would say. But anyway, back to the question, mate, how good was Luca Toni? The answer is very good.
Very, very good. A dying breed of a number 9, I'd say. Hopefully we'll see a resurgence. maybe one that does a bit more running and doesn't blow up on the third season.
There won't be. I don't think there'll be many other quite as good and as many target mans that are technically as good as him. But we do hope to see more players like him at some point. Right, let's go through we'll go through the quiz and stuff in a minute after we talk about his goals and his kits. So, do you want to start us off with his kits? Like you said, there's hundreds.
Oh, there's so many good kits, and I feel like we're not doing it justice by naming just three. We'll go for a couple. I've got a couple of honourable mentions, but we'll go through these three. They're three, I would say, iconic kits as well as free belters. So, coming in at number 3, we've got the Palermo 2003-2004 home shirt, and it is a beauty. We got the Palermo pink body. The sleeves are pink. The body is pink. The neck and underarm / torso is black. Woof. And then little red lotto badge on the side, and the Palermo badge on the other side with the big gold eagle on it. Oh mate, it's an absolute banger. It's got some weird sponsor on it. It's in Italian. I couldn't tell you, but it's not the best sponsor. Some sponsors look quite nice on a kit. You could probably do without it. That's why it's only in at number 3. At number 2, Fiorentina 2012-2013 home shirt. I mean, the shirt itself is fairly plain, right? Fairly plain. It's the standard Fiorentina purple, which is a lovely shade of purple. But we've got the Fiorentina badge in the middle. Central badge. Absolutely love a centralised badge. Joma to the right. Save the children. Stitched on the chest next to the badge. Oh, absolute belter. Then, sponsorship. Mazda. Okay then. Mazda. Don't really see that on a shirt, but Mazda have managed to make their way onto a beautiful shirt. Then, this is the as Stuart Pearce would say, the Pesto de Resistance. We've got what are they called, Wittso? They I think it looks like the Fleur de Lis. What is it?
Oh, what Giglio?
That's it, the Giglio. The gigolo on the shoulders. We've got the gigolo on the shoulders. Oh mate, it's a lovely shirt. So that's in at number 2. Number 1. Now this shirt is obviously a nice shirt, but it's probably the most iconic shirt that he wears. It's the Italy 2006 home shirt that they wore when they won the World Cup. Mate, it is a belter. Again, centralised Italy badge. Gold Puma logo in the middle with the gold number on the front. The number on the front, mate. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love the number on the front of a shirt. Especially international ones. It looks so good. And then it's a nice shade of blue. It's not overstated, but the gold is perfect. The gold screams World Cup winners. So yeah, we're going for the top 3 then. So we've got the Palermo 2003-2004 home shirt, the Fiorentina 2012-2013 home shirt, with Save the Children on the chest, and then at number 1, the Italy 2006 home shirt, World Cup winners. But I want to give a special mention as well to the Bayern Munich 2007 home, away and third shirts.
Oh,
They're bangers, mate. The T-Mobile sponsor in the middle, they had that for a long time. Have they still got it now? T-Mobile.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, they've had it for a very fucking long time then.
I can't think.
But, yeah, centralised Adidas badge. The Bayern Munich badge is only off to the left, so it's not made its way into the middle. If it made its way into the middle, it's going to probably make the top 3. It's a banger. And then we've got the red and white stripes across the torso. Great shirt. And we've also got another honourable mention for the Brescia third 2002-2003 shirt. Oh my God. Umbro doesn't normally make the list, does it? But this is an honourable mention, but it looks kind of a bit like a Bordeaux shirt, but better. The big fat white V across the torso, and then the rest of it just looks a little bit like a stock Umbro shirt. but it's still a banger.
I also want to bring up 2 honourable mentions as well for the Juventus away kit 2011-2012, the pink one with the fucking massive star in the middle of it, which is just a bit nuts, but it's nice. But I also want to give a shout out to the Hellas Verona third shirt, 2014-2015. It's so nice, a black shirt that is so nice. I genuinely think you could probably wear it to a funeral and people will go, wow, you look great today. Because it's that nice, it would make people stop and stare at a funeral. But I don't know, it just doesn't quite feel. The other ones give me more of a Luca Toni vibe, but there's so many, there's too many. But yeah, unbelievable kits. Right, goals. I'm going to go through his top 3 goals, which I'm going to say there are some good goals in here. There's not the great goals in here that you would maybe expect in other podcasts. So we're going to start with his goal against Cagliari. So his goal against Cagliari is the one that if you're playing clubs with your mates, it goes in and all of you are in the party going, what the fuck? That never happens. This game is bullshit. It is literally that goal. There he scores a header from like 18 yards out. It is an absolute bullet. You know when football fans sing the song about he'd head a brick. This is literally, if he headed a brick here, he would have broken the brick in half. I reckon he could have headed a house at this point. It is an edge of the box one. It's a bit of a beauty. But it only makes it to number 3 because it's one of those goals I laughed at when I watched, but I was also like, I can appreciate how class it is. But it's not technically beautiful. Second in this list is his goal for Italy against Holland. And he basically eats Ron Vlaar alive, but also Ron Vlaar with a full head of hair, and he basically wrestles him at the edge of the box, takes it round him, and then does like a little in-between scoop flick / outside of the boot thing round the keeper, and Ron Vlaar is fuming, and he's doing a thing where he's throwing the arms everywhere, trying to blame everyone else, but really he knows that he's fucked up. He knows that it's his fault. Not his fault because Luca Toni is just stronger and better, but he's gone, that's my man, and that shouldn't have happened.
Ron Vlaar with hair is like looking at Predator when they take Predator's mask off and it's got that absolutely vile face underneath. That is Ron Vlaar with hair. Concrete Ron needs to be bold, otherwise he's soft Ron. Fucking hell, soft Ron. Sorry,
number
back
3.
to the goal.
Number 1, sorry, is, and I think this is rightfully so, a goal that he scores for Verona when he is 37 years old, where he just cutbacks. He gets a ball comes across the box, he cuts it back past the Udinese defender and just slots it in the corner and does the happy little hand celebration. And you're like, this is technically brilliant. Like, this is so good. If you were this is technically brilliant. And if you were 5'7", you couldn't do this. But because you're big, strong, handsome Luca, you can do this. And it's a great goal. So again, the goals from 3 to 1 are number 3, the Pro Club's header from about 150 yards out that you're fuming about. Number 2, soft Ron getting eaten alive with a full head of hair. And number 1 is a lovely little cutback from an old man who slots it into the bottom right-hand corner, which is class. So, in answer to the question, mate, how good was Luca Toni? Underrated or overrated?
Oh, this is actually really hard. I'm going to say I say underrated every week, but I'm going to say underrated purely because of the amount of goals he scored. He scored so many fucking goals. Obviously, we're going to chalk 10 off for the match fixing, but besides that, he still scores a lot. Any player that scores 300 goals, I don't think you can say overrated unless people are just talking absolute nonsense about him. But yeah, I think his journey up through the lower divisions to become a World Cup winner is sick, and something prior to doing this I didn't really know about. So yeah, I'm gonna say in terms of probably fucking hell. In terms of like our perception of him, I would say he's probably underrated as a striker.
Yeah, agreed. I think he comes in. I thought Luca Toni would come into that collection of Italian strikers that just like weren't quite good enough, like Gilardino, but he's way better than that type of player. So yeah, I agree, underrated. You said as well Chelsea earlier. Is that where you think he would go? And how much do you think he'd be worth? Let's say after the Fiorentina move, all seasons.
Yeah, I think he's. I think he would probably go to. If he was about now, would Chelsea buy him? They probably should buy him. I don't know. I feel like so. Yeah, I said earlier Chelsea could do with a player like that, but I feel like Dortmund would buy him, and I feel like he would. Yeah, he would be unreal at Dortmund, like he was at Bayern. Really easy comparison to make. But yeah, I think Dortmund would be the kind of club that would buy him from Fiorentina.
Yeah. I feel like he's the type of person that goes, I would never go to another Italian club, but then make a move to Juventus for 80 million. I think he absolutely stinks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely stinks of that. But yeah, good player, and we're saying 75, 80 million for a great scorer of goals. Do you reckon, or a bit less?
Yeah, I'd say about that. I reckon so. 80 million.
I think if he went to Dortmund, he'd go to Dortmund for 45 million, but I think if he went to Juventus, he'd go to Juventus for 80 million. Right. Here's my quiz. Y'all ready for this? So, question number 1, true or false? Luca Toni played with only one player more than 100 times.
True.
It's actually false. He never played with anyone over 100 times.
Which
is
nice.
Mental, isn't it? He's played domestically alone 568 times. He plays nearly 50 times for the national team, and he played across Europe for about 4 to 5 years of his career and all the cup competitions, and he's never played with anyone more than 100 times. The person he played with the most was Fabio Grosso, who he played with 93 times.
Fucking hell, yeah. He didn't stay anywhere long enough to play with him for 100 times, so...
Exactly. Mad. But you'd think that there would be like one Italian journeyman who would be somewhere pretty close to him, which I suppose is what Fabio Grosso comes under.
Yeah.
Right, question number 2. Which out of the... Because I can't play Edu or Arteta because he didn't play with either of them. So which one of the Inzaghi brothers did he play with? Filippo or Simone?
Simone?
He actually didn't play with UEFA Champions League winning manager Simone Inzaghi. He played with Filippo Inzaghi.
Where?
Good question.
Don't know the answer.
Italy. Yeah, Italy.
Right, gotcha.
Italy. Right, true or false? Luca Toni once took the church to court.
False.
Nope, true. Luca Toni, this is no joke, right? Which is fucking mental, and I can't believe I've waited till this point to explain this. Luca Toni, when he was basically he got advised when he moved to Germany to declare that he was Catholic. So because he declared he was Catholic, he had to pay a tax that went towards a Catholic church, which is about 7% of what he earned. So he had over 2 years amassed £1.7 million paid in tax to the German Catholic Church, which he then took them to court to try and get his money back for. So he took the court to church. Took the church to court, sorry. That is absolutely mental, isn't it? And he said, if someone believes in God, he shouldn't pay the church. Right, question number 4. Luca Toni's record of 31 goals was beaten by Cristiano Ronaldo in the 2019-2020 season.
True.
False. His record of 31 goals was beaten by Gonzalo Higuain in the 15-16 season for Napoli before he moved to Juve. And Ronaldo wasn't even the top scorer of the season that he matched him because Ciro Immobile also scored 36 goals in that season.
Stats.
And here we go for make up some shit. Question number 5. Luca Toni tried to make a comedy series in Canada where he helped his friend who was very surprised by everything. And every episode there was a gag where someone went, Luca Toni, calm down. And he goes, but I'm not even mad.
Oh my God. Wow. Right, that is true.
Yeah, that's true. Well done. Right. That's us. So again, 40 minutes we said, hour and 5 minutes later, and we're still here. Right. If you haven't already, follow us on socials at MateHGW. Hope you've enjoyed this. Obviously, New Player Pods. New Player Pods coming again next week and the week afterwards, but then it's our mid-season summer break.
See ya.
Which is good. I'm off to a warm weather training camp, and Dono, where are you off to?
I am going to a altitude training.
Yeah, nice. Class. Can't wait. So you still got this and then 2 more to come, but then we are going to be taking a little break, which will not last too long. Right. If you haven't already, follow us on socials, like, subscribe, all the standard jargon. Socials are at MateHGW. God bless and we love you so much. Goodbye. Bye from me.
And it's a bye from me.
Goodbye.
I love mashed potatoes.